Listen carefully. The world is closer to a new Middle East war than most people realize. Iran, Israel, and the United States have been locked in a dangerous dance of strikes, threats, sanctions, and broken diplomacy. But here's the real question. Will the U.S. actually go to war with Iran in 2026? The answer could change everything: global oil, global security, and your future. For decades, the United States and Iran have been on opposite sides of history, suspicious of each other, never fully reconciled. Today, that tension has escalated beyond sanctions and rhetoric. In 2025, U.S. forces struck Iranian nuclear and military facilities, directly joining an effort aimed at undermining Iran's nuclear program. At the same time, Iran has responded with missile salvos and diplomatic warnings, claiming any U.S. intervention could spark all-out war. So could this simmering crisis explode into a full-scale U.S.-Iran war in 2026? And if it does, what happens next? A history of U.S.-Iran tension. To understand the present, we must look at the past. Since the Iranian Revolution of 1979, U.S.-Iran relations have been deeply hostile. Iran's shift to an Islamic republic fundamentally changed its global posture, and the U.S. froze diplomatic relations soon after. The nuclear issue has been a key flashpoint. In 2015, a nuclear deal, the JCPOA, limited Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for lifting sanctions. But in 2018, the U.S. withdrew, leading to renewed tensions, sanctions, and mistrust. Throughout the 2020s, the U.S. pursued a maximum pressure strategy to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions and regional influence, including sanctions that restrict banking, oil exports, and military procurement. Iran, in turn, continued uranium enrichment and rejected calls to fully freeze its nuclear program, even as it denied seeking weapons.
The escalation of 2025. In June 2025, the Middle East witnessed a brief but intense flare-up between Iran and Israel, marking a significant shift in regional dynamics. Israeli jets with logistical support from the U.S. carried out strikes deep inside Iranian territory, hitting nuclear, military, and energy sites in an attempt to weaken Tehran's nuclear program. In response, Iran launched unprecedented missile barrages, including hits on military and infrastructure targets, forcing even advanced Israeli defense systems to work overtime. President Trump himself remained publicly non-committal, refusing to confirm whether the U.S. would join Israel's campaign, saying, "I may do it, I may not do it." But behind the scenes, U.S. forces were moving equipment into the Middle East that could support broader operations if needed, even as some American leaders warned against over-escalation. Why the U.S. might go to war. There are multiple factors that could push the U.S. toward war with Iran. 1. Nuclear threat perception. Iran's uranium enrichment levels surged in 2025, getting closer to weapons-grade material, something U.S. intelligence has taken seriously. The U.S. has warned Iran repeatedly that it cannot have a nuclear weapon and hinted that military action is an option if negotiations fail. 2. Proxy spillovers. Iran supports proxy groups across the region, from Hezbollah to militias in Iraq and Yemen, meaning any escalation could ripple far beyond Iran's borders. 3. Regional alliances and pressure. Israel, a close U.S. ally, has consistently pressured Washington to confront Iran's nuclear and military capabilities directly. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other Gulf states, wary of instability, are watching closely, worried a broader conflict could destabilize energy markets and security in the region. The reality of 2026. Is war likely? Experts are divided. Some caution that direct U.S. involvement would be politically risky. Polls show that most Americans do not want major new wars, especially after decades of Middle East involvement.
Others argue that the U.S. cannot allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons or expand its regional influence without responding, lest deterrence collapse. What's clear is this: the United States has not ruled out war, and Iranian leaders have openly warned that foreign intervention would lead to an all-out war. At the same time, Iran's economic crisis and sanctions pressure could push Tehran to react unpredictably to any strike, meaning even a limited conflict could spiral. The possibility of the United States going to war with Iran in 2026 is not a distant hypothetical. It's a real scenario driven by decades of mistrust, nuclear tensions, proxy conflicts, economic pressures, and strategic interests. Whether war happens or not will shape the future of the Middle East and the world. If you found this breakdown helpful, like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more deep geopolitical analyses. Comment below, do you think the U.S. will go to war with Iran in 2026? What do you think will trigger it?